soft, quality cashmere. That's the ethos behind the Notum brand. In 2013, Notum changed the cashmere industry by creating heirloom quality sweaters that were more colorful, more accessible, and more sustainable than ever before. Their incredibly soft knitwear is responsibly sourced, surprisingly affordable, and crafted in modern yet timeless styles for every season. From classic sweaters to chic dresses, Notum has something for him, her, and more. Take 15% off at notum.co with code SOFT15. That's SOFT15 at NAADAM.co.
Live from multiple locations via the miracle of Skype, it's the LTN Hour. Let's talk NASCAR with your host, Todd Bailing. Featuring dangerous Dan Margetta and Brian Schmidt. LTN is a caller-driven program, and your participation is encouraged by calling 414-421-7901. That's 414-421-7901. Now, the creator and host of the fastest hour in radio, Todd Bailing.
Welcome to the program. Glad you could join us from all across the USA. Your team is waiting patiently to discuss today's racing at Martinsville, Virginia. Todd Bailing in Phoenix, Arizona, joined by my three partners, Brian Schmidt of Oatsburg, Wisconsin. Hey, Brian.
Morning. It's hard to believe we're a year removed already from the Hail Melon. Remember that exciting rim riding affair at Martinsville last year? That's been a year ago already. That's hard to believe as we go to Martinsville today.
The most incredible thing any of us will ever see on a racetrack. Not just that he did it, that it got him in the playoffs. And Dan Margetta of beautiful St. Francis, Wisconsin. Hey.
Hey, good morning. Martinsville's always kind of cool because it's kind of a beating banging type short track, and now we got a lot on the line with the championship for whoever wins this deal and one of our cars going to go to the finals. It ramps up the intensity like you really needed it here.
No kidding. And of course, our newest member of the team, PJ Noodleman of Trempealeau, Wisconsin, on the beautiful Mississippi River, right across that river from Minnesota. Hi.
Hi, happy to be here.
At my age, I'm happy to be anywhere. The Martinsville race will start with Martin Truex on the pole with 94.153 miles per hour. Last week, we had ourselves a hell of a race at Homestead. I like to say it's my favorite track, and I've never been there. And I don't know if I'll ever make it to that place, but it sure makes for some great television, doesn't it? The graduated, or whatever the hell they call it, banking is just meant for outstanding racing. And of all people, last week, Christopher Bell wins and puts himself into the four-man playoff next week for a championship. Pretty damn good race. Would you all agree? Even though the four of us all had it wrong, which is how we do things here.
You really didn't think Christopher Bell was going to be in that position because he was really not that good all day. Kind of, messing around backside of the top 10, sometimes out of the top 10. Just really didn't have that good of a car, and it looked like it was going to be, Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney were going to be the main focuses there, and then Kyle Larson, I don't know what you call that, coming into the pits there, where he slams into the barrels and makes a complete mess out of the front straightaway and pretty much put him out of the day. And you thought, well, is that going to ruin Ryan Blaney's day? Well, it really didn't. And lo and behold, at the end there's Christopher Bell right up at the front, and he goes on and wins the race. And for the second year in a row now, he puts himself in the Final Four. Everybody always talks about the hierarchy at Gibbs. I mean, you have to really think, it sure looks like Christopher Bell is the top dog at Gibbs. I mean, he's putting himself in the Final Four, now 2 years in a row. Everybody always says Truex and how the seniority goes there. I would argue Bell's the best guy there.
Yeah, youngest, and the proof.
Not the youngest now with Ty Gibbs there, but.
Oh, that's right. Geez, I forgot all about that. And Truex, though, is not in I guess he's not in the greatest position, being down a little bit. Brian, why don't you just give us what that all meant with Christopher Bell winning last week?
Oh, Bell, that punched his ticket. So you got Bell and Larson are in. And now you got William Byron. He's 30 to the good. Now, again, with stage points, he's starting a little bit farther back. So he's going to have to try to get himself up there to at least gain some stage points.
100 laps, Brian.
Well, I know, but you got your stage points. to get there in between time. So he's 30 to the good, but he could lose 2/3 of that if he doesn't get any stage points before then. And then you got Ryan Blaney, he's 10 to the good. Reddick, 10 out. Martin Truex is 17 out. He's starting on the pole. So he looks now, if he's able to keep up front and win those 2 stages, that 17-point deficit will vanish, depending upon where the other guys are. Hamlin is 17 out, and Buescher's going to have to win the race. He's 43 out, and he doesn't have a real good starting spot either. So Chris Buescher's probably the one who has the biggest sinking ship. And if you look at his track record at Martinsville, it's not that good. So unless he pulls a rabbit out of his hat, I don't think he's got a shot. But the other 3 guys all are right there going into this race.
Wasn't it just heartwarming to see those 2 Gibbs cars both have issues at the exact same time last week? I was I just thought it was entertaining as hell.
Yeah, okay. Definitely.
And they're tied, by the way, 17 out. So that also is interesting stuff. So we'll watch that. It's on Channel 4 today on NBC. Green flag is at 1:07. Now you will have coverage right here on the Big 920 and on the iHeartRadio app. That coverage begins at noon today. Segments are at lap 130 and 260. And like Brian said, all of a sudden those segment points become more pronounced. They're no more important than they ever were, but they're certainly front and center right now because these points at this point of the year may mean everything, and it'll be definitely fun to watch. There's some things that happened this week. First of all, they ran a race here yesterday in the Xfinity Series. I don't know. Is this real? I guess that's what NASCAR wants, is for the absolute calamity that can happen late in a race, and they certainly had it yesterday. Justin Allgaier, how he managed to do that is still beyond me, but a couple of Richard Childress teammates starting right next to each other on a green-white checker, Sheldon Creed and Austin Hill, and the quote from the boss, Richard Childress: "I've had drivers drive for me before, but nobody is as stupid as Sheldon Creed." Now, I think old Sheldon got a bad rap right there. I can't, other than the fact that he was driving his ass off trying to get himself into the playoffs, I don't know that he did anything wrong. He overdrove a turn or 2, but, he's trying to win the race. Especially since he knows he's not going to be there anymore. This would have been a perfect way out the door to win a championship. But it didn't quite work, did it?
Well, all we have to go ahead, Dan.
I think he could have, if he wanted to win that race, he could have won it. He would have just, drove the 21 car in the fence or turned him around. He didn't do that. He moved him, which is what you do at Martinsville when everything's on the line. I don't think he did anything really that wrong. I'm not sure why they're all upset about him. And actually, if they would be a better team, they would know that both cars could have made that championship thing. The 21 didn't have to win. He could have finished second, and it would have been good, right, Brian?
Yeah, for the most part, depending upon where Cole Custer ended up finishing, that was going to be the golden ticket for both of them. But this has more to do with Sheldon Creed saying that he's leaving Childress than it does what he raced yesterday. I mean, all you have to do is look at last year's Xfinity race. That's what teammates shouldn't do to each other. You had Ty Gibbs, who was locked in. You had Brandon Jones, who was not locked in, and Ty Gibbs just sent Jones to the moon, with a lap to go, and eliminated him from the race. Creed didn't do that. And then to see how they act, RC's reaction. You saw, the competition manager go by there and kind of, grumble at Sheldon Creed there too at the end. I mean, I kind of felt bad for him because he didn't need that, and then you hear Austin Hill's interview. All he does is whine about how, he didn't leave me a chance and all this stuff. Yeah, he left him a chance. The one who sent you around was the 20 car. He's the one that crashed you at the end of the race. It wasn't Creed. Creed was in front of you. So it was just, I think that the dysfunction at RCR is very evident in their Xfinity garage as to what happened here this weekend here. And as far as I'm concerned, justice was served. Neither one of them got in just because of how dysfunctional that whole operation was and how they couldn't, manage their business properly. And you get what you deserve in my book.
It's amazing to me that Richard Childress continually brings drivers in that are unlikable. They're good drivers. They're just not really likable types. Austin Hill, I have seen this guy at his best and at his worst, and he's not a bad driver. He's just, for some reason, I guess he really likes to point fingers at people if he doesn't win. Dan, it seems more and more obvious that, as time goes on.
It seems like that. I mean, he comes off kind of like a bully on that team, and everybody's kind of bowing down to him. And as long as he does okay, we're all right. I mean, Creed had it right when he told Andrew Petrie, apparently, if it would have been the other way around, he hit me, you wouldn't say anything to me. You wouldn't be saying anything to him. You just let it go. It makes sense why he's leaving that team, I guess. I guess I can see kind of why Tyler Reddick moved on. I'm kind of surprised that Kyle Busch went over there and he's so far lasted okay. I mean, it's been 1 year, but I don't think he'd put up with something like that.
He's trying to put a little more function in a dysfunction.
And there's only one competitive car on the Cup side there. It's his, because Austin Dillon is nowhere to be found usually.
We're glad you're tuned in. LTN returns right after these.
Win $1,000 in inflation compensation. Happening now.
Listen for the keyword weekdays 9 to 5, then go to our website and simply enter. Check it out at thebig920.com.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at wagnerautomotive.com. Fall has arrived, but there's still time to get your landscaping complete before the snow flies. And PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
The NASCAR Cup Series
puts the green flag in the air, and we're racing at Martinsville Speedway.
Playoff round of 8 drama unfolds at Martinsville Speedway.
Brian Blaney working hard to the outside. Brad Keselowski gets third.
Will we witness history once again?
Chastain did a video game move, drove it and never lifted, put it against the safer barrier in turn 3.
It's the Xfinity 500.
Sunday coverage starts at noon on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back to LTN. Glad you could join us. As though Richard Childress, I mentioned, has drivers that are not really what I would call likable over the years. He's going to get a likable young man to come drive there next year. Jesse Love, who came to Slinger Speedway and set on the pole for the first time he ever raced there and led every lap and won a feature. And really endeared himself to the fans. He was just a great young man, and hung around afterwards and wanted to meet Jerry Eckhart because he was his hero, he said. And I mean, he did everything right, and he's a very likable young man. He's going to drive that 2-car, according, by the way. Now, of course, they came out and mentioned it this week because Childress wanted everybody to know, I was going to move Sheldon Creed out anyway. Oh, and whatever. I see the crew chief for that car is going to be Danny Stockman. Is that the guy that's originally from Green Bay? Anybody? You guys know this?
That's him, the same guy.
I was going to call Scott Hansen and ask him this morning. Of course, I get up to to start preparing real god-awful early in the morning here because there's a 2-hour time difference to Wisconsin. And I was going to call Scott and ask him, but he's in Las Vegas. And the last thing you want to do in Las Vegas is answer the phone at 6 in the morning on a Sunday. But Stockman, I think, worked with Scott Hansen in years past, if I remember right. And that's where he got his start, basically. But he's going to be the crew chief on that number 2 car for Jesse Love next year. So pretty cool. And also, that's a big deal. That Jesse Love was a Toyota pipeline guy, and he's going to a Chevrolet. Which where do these pipeline guys go after a while, right? I mean, there's got to be a ride for you somewhere. It's not the worst move for young Jesse, I don't think. Do you guys?
I think
and he's skipping the Truck Series completely, which is kind of surprising. Most of them take the step up, being the ARCA champ, and then work your way up through the Truck Series. But with Toyota not having any room at the inn right now, and Childress having an open seat, just jumping straight from the Xfinity or from the ARCA car straight to the Xfinity car. We'll see how that works out for him.
Now, Brian, my question would be, if I was going to ask Childress the question, what happens if Jesse Love beats Austin Hill?
Yeah, right. No kidding. I mean, hopefully Jesse knows.
He won't be a good teammate anymore.
Childress will probably say he's the second stupidest driver he's ever.
Yeah. There you go. Because it's all about Austin. Well, it's interesting. By the way, Austin Hill, when he threw out yesterday that Creed was going to be going to Gibbs next year, Gibbs isn't in a position basically to take stupid drivers, or at least what Richard Childress has judged to be a stupid driver. But it'll be great. When a guy badmouths somebody going out the door, it's always fun to watch how they race each other the next year and how that all goes. It just makes for a better storyline as far as I'm concerned. But
I will say I like how Creed has kind of taken the high road and has not badmouthed and has just let chips fall. And to me, that speaks more volumes about him and his character.
In your everyday life, you're an upstanding citizen. But sometimes you're looking for an escape. When you play Monopoly, you can go from a rule follower to a ruthless competitor. You may even break some rules. But don't worry, it's only temporary. So go ahead, bankrupt your grandma, or raise the rent on your firstborn. Play now, apologize later, because all is fair in Monopoly. Monopoly is a trademark of Hasbro.
And Richard Childress is obviously showing his character, too.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, frustration leads people to do some real
Yeah, but in his position, Childress should have better mouth throttle control.
Yeah, or at least know who he's talking to. I mean, you're talking to a reporter, it's going to get out there somewhere.
Exactly.
It's a class thing as far as I'm concerned, but frustration sometimes will just take over completely.
The thing about that, though, is that Creed's going to go over there without, Whalen has been his sponsor for a long time, and that's staying with the two-car in Xfinity. So I'm not sure what sponsor Creed's going to have over at Gibbs. I mean, I don't think he'd go over there without some kind of funding somewhere.
Keep in mind that Gibbs is taking a driver that has never won a race either. He's, old Sheldon Creed. He kind of looks, I hate to use the word dorky, but those glasses don't do him any favors whatsoever. He has never won a race, and it's kind of odd. Gibbs there must be some money coming with Sheldon Creed. Would you guys?
In the Xfinity Series, he's not won. He's a very accomplished truck racer, won several races back in the day in the Truck Series.
True that. And he was in position to move and raced his behind off to get into the show. And, you can't put that into a driver. He may not have made perfect moves, but he could have made a lot worse moves the way it seems to me. But, oh, well. Hey, Stewart-Haas Racing, finally, the rumor is true. They are losing half of their driving team this year, along with Harvick. Now Almirola announced that he's leaving. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? Almirola announces he's not going to return. So supposedly Smithfield says, well, if Almirola isn't coming back, then we're not going to sponsor the team. You get the funny feeling that Smithfield said, hey, Eric, we're pulling the plug after this year. And Stewart, the only reason you have a guy over there that's won 2 races in 100 years is because he's bringing money with him. And Almirola has been a very nice, very smart, very attractive driver to have representing a company and a sponsor like he has. And I think Almirola can hold his head up and say, I've had a couple of wins and I've done my best and we've done all right. And I think I hope I sold some Oscar Mayer wieners over the years for the people that own Smithfield. But Smithfield, they left. So what we have is Stuart Haas now has to replace Smithfield for the 10 car, and they have to replace Budweiser on the 4 car because Bud is leaving to go to the 1 car, along with, the guy that put himself on the map a year ago here. So what do we do over at Stuart Haas? There's this hot rumor, Dan, that it's going to be Gregson.
That's what everybody says. That's the one name that keeps floating around out there. That nobody seems to have floated any other names unless they pull a total surprise. That looks like the way it's going. And they've done it before. Stuart Haas, remember, they're the ones that kept everything quiet when he went to Ford. Nobody knew that happened. That came out of nowhere. So I guess we'll see. But that name everybody's been throwing out there is Noah Gregson. Now, I'm not sure if he still has some kind of funding to bring something to that car because think about it. They lost. They have Mobil 1 on the 4, and they have the sponsors from the 14, a couple of them. But the 10 and the 41 are open, right?
Well, what happened? Well, 41, I think, is going to stay the same. But you would think, well, there's a lot more conjecture there that we'll talk about. So hang in there with us.
Win $1,000 in inflation compensation. Happening now.
Listen for the keyword weekdays 9 to 5, then go to our website and simply enter. Check it out at thebig920.com.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
This week on NASCAR Live, Carson Hocevar joined the show.
It's been 3 years of hard work and working together that we get one more shot to get a championship trophy on the shelf, and then we get to go play for the next few years of just getting the other trophies and the cool trophies and the fun racetracks that we missed along the way.
There's much more waiting for you each week on NASCAR Live.
Every Tuesday night at 6 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Our listeners are just fantastic. On our on our Facebook page, Matt Yancey posted Sheldon Creed looks like Austin Powers.
He does.
He really does. I mean, is that the most perfect nickname for that guy you'll ever... unless he gets different glasses, and I don't know that that's happening, but that is just...
I like his glasses. I think that adds some character.
Lest we not forget, he is a very accomplished, looking up his history there. He's the 2018 ARCA champ and the 2020 Truck Series champion. So the guy's got some pretty good stats there to put in his resume.
Agreed.
Don't you wish when these guys come up, you know where their money comes from? Sometimes you do, and most times you don't. And where's this money coming from for so-and-so? Because it's rare for anybody to get any kind of ride whatsoever that doesn't bring some sort of money to the table. And race car drivers, I mean, the families of accomplished racers are the ones that come up with the cash. Even like Jeff Gordon's family, he moved all over the place chasing racing. And Joey Logano, I mean, he's from Connecticut, And when he raced at Madison when he was 13 years old, his hometown was somewhere in Georgia at the time, which is where his family moved just to keep him on the move with, race with his racing career. And so I just wish I knew where some of the money is coming from.
It said, as far as Creed's grandfather, Maurice Ortega, runs the Ortega Underground Utility Construction Company. So there must be some money there, I'm guessing.
Underground utilities.
Creed's brother-in-law is Stephen Parsons. So there's a little bit of a connection there. Creed is married to Cammie Parsons, the twin sister and fellow competitor to Creed's brother-in-law, Stephen Parsons.
Interesting.
First time he popped up on our radar, really, and I knew about him, Brian. We were out in Vegas for that dirt race. Remember, they dragged an car out from like Indiana or something, and they actually won it was a West race, and they actually won the thing.
Yeah, he's got a very accomplished off-road. I mean, he won a bunch of Lucas Oil off-road series back when that series was going on, championships, from 09 all the way through. He won the Stadium Super Truck Championship in 15 and 16. So his background is off-road racing.
Interesting. Like Jimmy Johnson's, actually.
Yeah, from the same area there up in Alpine, California.
It's something that I want everybody to remember, that daylight savings ends 1 week from today at 2 a.m. So now out here in Arizona, that's not a big deal because our time doesn't change where the race is going to be next week. However, it will go from a 2-hour difference to Milwaukee to a 1-hour difference to Milwaukee. So that part does change a little bit. And we are going to have, by the way, we kind of thought about this last week during the program. I thought it would be a good idea for anybody that's heading out to Arizona next week for the championship. Boy, there used to be a lot of people that came out for that race. I think we had 400 people the first year that bought tickets from Ted Lake. If you remember back, well, that was a while back, 1988, I suppose. But, we've over the years, there have been a lot of folks that have come out here. And Boring Bob kind of picked it up over the years and continued with it. Well, we're going to have a kind of a little get-together Thursday night, if you happen to be out here. The name of the place is Roman's Oasis. It's in Goodyear. It's not terribly far from the racetrack. You want to write it down or look it up. We'll put it on Facebook so you won't forget. Basically on Yuma and Cotton is where it is, just a little bit north and west of the track. Thursday night after you're done at the track, just come on out. There's nothing formal. I was going to say we'd watch the World Series, but that's the World Series games out here are going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. By the way, did anybody notice the first race of the year out here is during spring training, and the last race of the year out here is going to be during the World Series? Amazing. It's a baseball town, I guess. Racing and baseball all at the same time. 2 championships will be over the next week or so are going to be determined. Kind of interesting. Both going right through Phoenix. So hope to see you Thursday night. No, I don't know what time. Whatever time you get there, folks. How about that? And we're hoping that PJ can hitchhike her way over there because it sounds like nobody's going to give her a ride.
Well, they might.
Bye-bye.
They might. It's just when you've got 8 different people, it's hard to run air traffic control. I'll figure it out, and there's Uber. It'll be good.
Wow, I'd hate to say that you need to Uber to an LTN party. If you do, save the receipt. If you'd like to participate, 414-421-7901. The guy that our late partner, Ed Kluka, never really liked very much. He called him the Rat. Jason Ratcliffe was Matt Kenseth's crew chief when he was over there at Gibbs Racing. They won a bunch of races together, and Ed never thought that Jason Ratcliffe was up to Matt Kenseth's talent level. Jason has been a faithful employee over at Gibbs over the years. He's been the crew chief for the number 19 Xfinity car, which has rotating drivers in it and has for a while now. He is going to retire. after next week's race here in Phoenix. So he's going to be all done, and that team finally is going to be sitting in rocking chairs and watching the racing on TV, I guess. Although he's already hinted like he wants some kind of other responsibilities on his way. So we'll have to see that. And Dan, I don't know if we have time right now, but I thought it was very interesting that NASCAR in their rule book put in there that they are going to look at the charters that have been the least performing charters, and NASCAR had the option of repossessing a charter after 3 years. The 51 charter for Rick Ware Racing is the one that they looked at, and NASCAR made I wouldn't say a surprising decision, but a non-decision.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Soft, quality, cashmere. That's the ethos behind the Nottam brand. In 2013, Nottam changed the cashmere industry by creating heirloom quality sweaters that were more colorful, more accessible, and more sustainable than ever before. Their incredibly soft knitwear is responsibly sourced, surprisingly affordable, and crafted in modern yet timeless styles for every season. From classic sweaters to chic dresses, Nottam has something for him, her, and more. Take 15% off at nottam.co with code SOFT15. That's SOFT15 at NAADAM.co.
Yeah, it looks like they claim they're not going to do it. I mean, it's going to be the third year in a row. It's going to be the bottom 3 in points, which was the criteria to be met if they were going to take a charter. Basically, it was put in to stop the start and park teams. They didn't like teams that were just running around and running a couple laps and parking in the garage and just collecting the start money and going race to race that way. Now, they haven't done that at Rick Ware Racing. I mean, they've run the full races, but they haven't put a heck of an effort really into doing much more. There hasn't been a lot of improvement. I mean, they've always seemed to be close to that bottom 3, and then they'll play a shell game where they'll move the charter to somebody else, or they'll sell it to somebody else will come in and have different ownerships. But now they're kind of caught in that game where this is the third year. NASCAR says they're making strides to get better. They're hiring Justin Haley to drive the 51 car next year, and I think they've partnered with Roush Fenway Racing to kind of improve their performance. So NASCAR says they're making strides to try to improve. I'd like to see some more results on the racetrack. I mean, I'm not sure why you put that rule into place if you're not going to.
Well, it magnifies the subjectiveness that is NASCAR. So, and that can lead to a lot of issues.
Isn't that just words to live by right there? The subjectiveness that NASCAR is. We'll take a break and be back. Hang in there.
Win $1,000 in inflation compensation. Happening now.
Listen for the keyword weekdays 9 to 5, then go to our website and simply enter. Check it out at thebig920.com.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Fall has arrived, but there's still time to get your landscaping complete before the snow flies. And PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Today, the officials say touchdown, and the Packers jump right back in it. It's round 1 of the Packers and Vikings. Kickoff at noon on Milwaukee's home for the Packers. 97.3 The Game.
Well, we'll jump into the legal aspect of NASCAR or NASCAR related or guys in NASCAR that have been in court for something or another. James Finch, you know the name, Phoenix Construction, a long-time short track racer. The guy has had teams and he's had great drivers over the years, and Phoenix Construction has sponsored many drivers. I think he's just a hell of a guy myself. I've been lucky enough to have been down to the Snowball Derby and spent a little bit of time at his motorhome, and he stayed at our hotel and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, he was in court for the second time for the same thing. It was a bribery charge. They found $45,000 in checks written out to a city commissioner, which they thought was somehow a bribe of some sort, but he was acquitted in court because he convinced them that that money was a loan at a very good rate. Also, he got all the contracts for the city, and they figured that was somehow bought out. And he was doing the city a favor, whatever city that is, I forgot to write it down, by giving them really good rates on things because he wanted everybody to succeed. I think Finch is one of the good guys. I really do. I always have. And the fact that he was acquitted in court, they offered him a deal where if all he did was prove or plead that he was guilty, there would have been zero penalty whatsoever. All he had to do was plead guilty. And he said, no, I want to shove it right in there. And I'm going to take it to court. And he ended up doing that. So
I applaud that. I mean, it's the principle, and he's a racer, so it is like racing. Once you have a parts infraction and there's a conviction, it's on your record, and that moniker of cheater is forever hung around your neck. So yeah, he didn't want to sully his reputation. I applaud that.
Isn't that just amazing? And good for him. One for the good guys. This week, the president. Anybody know who I should have asked this. Who's the president of 2311 Racing? Anyone? Do you think it might be Michael Jordan or no? You think it might be, the driver of the number 11 car? You think maybe Hamlin is the president of 23? No, it's some guy named Steve Lauletta. Shouldn't call him some guy because he's obviously pretty important in the racing world. He came out and started bitching at other teams for selling individual race sponsorships. He wants them to stick together and demand more money for an entire season sponsorship package like he had dumped in his lap when he got there. From the, let's just say, for instance, a certain shipping outfit that's on that 11 car. That kind of thing just happens to, that FedEx money is just not seen or heard anymore. It's a very unusual thing, and teams have to do this to survive. Dan, I don't know. Is it a great idea?
It'd be nice if you could have a full season sponsor like we used to have. We just don't have many out there anymore. I mean, the costs have gone up, and companies don't want to pony up what it costs to run a full season, so they get better value doing races. They feel that they have more bang for their buck if they do 10 races or 5 races and just have a special, wrap for those events. And it seems to work right now for it to happen. If you want that, well, then we have to either get the cost down, or you have to somehow find a company that's willing to spend $30 million to run a whole year.
Yeah, upwards of $30 million.
And a lot of it is regional too. Some of these sponsors aren't nationwide sponsors. Menards is an example. They're not in every single state, so you see Menards on the car when they're in an area where it's prevalent to them. We had Quick Trip on Kyle Busch's car when he's in an area that's prevalent to that area. So, I mean, you're looking at, if you're gonna limit yourself that it's got to be a full season deal, then you're really limiting it to the only companies that are nationwide type companies that are into auto racing, which it just doesn't exist like that anymore.
And a lot of them became part of NASCAR. Isn't that part of the champ when they become presenting sponsors there?
Well, that's part of the problem. I think NASCAR has a tendency to kind of eat itself by poaching sponsors from teams in order to give them more value, but then they end up taking money out of the racing pockets.
this leads me, since you brought up Menards, Brian, the rumor was, and I don't know if you guys remember this because we talked about it when Paul Menard was driving in NASCAR regularly, but the Menards money from the company was, I thought, the highest rumored number per year that anything I had ever seen. It was $35 million a year. Of course, now remember, it wasn't just to buy a ride for Paul Menard. They sponsored a couple different cars for Penske. In fact, I even think it included an Indy car in that deal. And there were Xfinity cars, and they shuffle among drivers. And but that kind of money is just unheard of anymore. Remember that when $20 million was the go-to number, 18 to 20 a year was a full-time sponsor. I wonder exactly how much they're paying now to be, like, for instance, some of the FedEx being a full-time sponsor on a car. What do you suppose they pay on a yearly basis?
FedEx sells off races too. A lot of those full-time ones will sell off a race, or a couple of them. And you've seen, the 11 car hasn't been FedEx every race this year. There's a couple they'll sell off to another company.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I wonder if the number changes. Like at Penske, for instance, you'll have Menards on Cindric's car some week, and then you'll see it on Ryan Blaney's. Was it the same price to be on Cindric's car, which doesn't run to the front, versus Blaney, who has a shot at winning? I mean, I wonder how that works.
Well,
One would think it has to be different numbers, because otherwise why would they flip-flop cars, right?
Right, it depends on the driver. I mean, look at the Interstate. Interstate was with Kyle Busch on the 18 car. He went away. It became the 54. Suddenly, Interstate appeared on all the Gibbs cars, for how many races. They suddenly didn't think they were getting what they were paying to get the bang for their buck when they had Kyle Busch. You don't have him anymore. So now, to make up for that, we want to be on all the cars, kind of thing.
My God.
I think it's a very unrealistic thought by him to think that you're going to get to that way. I mean, if anything, I think it's going to go more in the other direction. You may see cars with 20 different sponsorships on a season. I mean, Kyle Busch is probably pretty close to that when you think about their season. That car looked different every week.
Mm-hmm.
What in the hell is 3 Chai? Anybody?
Isn't that like a...
It is.
It's like a spa or a meditation type of thing, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is funny for him.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when I think of, relaxing at a spa, I think of Kyle Busch. No, I don't think so. We're glad you're tuned in. We're going to come back with some results from around the world of racing. There's less and less. The season is winding down. We'll come back with those right after these.
Win $1,000 in inflation compensation. Happening now.
Listen for the keyword weekdays 9 to 5. Then go to our website and simply enter. Check it out at thebig920.com.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
Fall has arrived, but there's still time to get your landscaping complete before the snow flies. And PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Be in this moment. That's all that we got. The present is all that we got.
One of the oldest rivalries resumes today when the Packers and Vikings battle at Lambeau. Kickoff at noon on the flagship of the Packers Radio Network, 97.3 The Game.
presents Dirt on the Dirt with Brian Schmidt.
Yes, the dirt track racing season continues to wind down. We'll start last week Sunday, the rained out Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series Championship race at Eldora, the Dirt Track World Championship. They ran it Sunday night, $100,000 to win, and anybody that watched that race, it was thrilling, and it was what they were hoping for. I don't think the drivers agreed with it, though. It was very rough. They battled rain all week. The $100,000 to win feature went to Brandon Shepard, and your 2023 Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series champion came down to the last corner on the last lap when Hudson O'Neill got by Devin Moran to get the win. Unfortunately for Ricky Thornton Jr., who dominated the entire season, he was involved in an incident, I think, on lap 6 of that 100-lap race. Kind of took him out of it a little bit, but boy, what a thrilling race that was. Did any of you guys watch that?
I watched it, and for all of the talk about how we don't want to be like NASCAR and have this kind of, points championship winner-take-all deal, it was quite exciting to watch.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Soft, quality cashmere. That's the ethos behind the Nottam brand. In 2013, Nottam changed the cashmere industry by creating heirloom quality sweaters that were more colorful, more accessible, and more sustainable than ever before. Their incredibly soft knitwear is responsibly sourced, surprisingly affordable, and crafted in modern yet timeless styles for every season. From classic sweaters to chic dresses, Nottam has something for him, her, and more. Take 15% off at nottam.co with code SOFT15. That's SOFT15 at NAADAM.co.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you had, because otherwise Ricky Thornton probably would have clinched that championship, I don't know, maybe in July, the way he was running so good.
Shepard was in the pits in the first couple laps, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. Yeah, he had a charge. I mean, there were only about 10 cars left at the end of it. Jonathan Davenport was in the mix, too, and then he had an incident with about 20 to go, I think, that rendered him out of the race, and it was quite the race. Not a lot of people there to see it because it was cold and damp and rainy, but very exciting race to see. And I think Lucas, hopefully next year they have good weather and you can have a little more of a straightforward event on a Saturday night. But continuing on Thursday at Charlotte, North Carolina, they had the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the World Short Track Championships. Not to be confused with the Dirt Track World Championship. For all the underclass cars there, is next weekend is the big World Finals there. They had over 500 cars in like 6 different divisions there. The top classes that were there, the UMP Modifieds, they had a preliminary feature. Kyle Strickler won that. And the 604 crate late models were there. Dylan Brown won that. Friday night in Yuma, Arizona, the Cocoa Paw Speedway, as racing kicks back up in the Arizona area now that the warm weather has kind of subsided. The IMCA modified feature was Colin Hibden, and the stock cars went to Bo Partain. Muskogee, Oklahoma, the Thunderbird Speedway, $6,000 to win for the super late models, and the ageless wonder Billy Moyer picked up his 850th career super late model win Friday night. That guy just doesn't quit. He doesn't win as often, and you don't see him at as many of the big events, but he's still out there, still winning races.
He lives in Arizona now.
Yep. Yeah, he does. Yeah, well, you saw him this spring, didn't you?
I certainly did, and he's a neighbor of Tony Stewart's up in Havasu.
Yeah, cool. Hopefully he just keeps going as long as he's in good health. Last night in Yuma, Arizona, the Cocoa Paw Speedway, night number 2 for the modified special out there. Colin Hibden won it again. The stock cars, Bo Partain won it again. Final night at Charlotte for the dirt track, or the World Short Track Championships. The UMP Modifieds, Taylor Cook was your winner, and the 604 crates went to Trent Ivy. Bakersfield, California, the Kern County Raceway Park, the NARC Sprint Cars, Corey Day was your winner. Swedensboro, New Jersey, the Bridgeport Motorsports Park, $15,000 to win for the 410 Sprint Cars. Kyle Reinhardt was your winner. And in Georgetown, Delaware, the Short Track Super Series for the Big Block Modifieds, Danny Book was your winner, and $7,000 to win for the Super Lates went to Rick Eckhart. And as we said, next week is the big World Finals in Charlotte, where the World of Outlaw Sprint Car Champion and the World of Outlaw Late Model Championship will be decided. Late model deal is pretty much a done deal. They're not going to have any 4-car showdown or anything like that. Bobby Pierce has dominated it all year, and I think as long as he shows up, he'll be your champion. Sprint cars is going to come down to the wire again between David Gravel and Brad Sweet, so that should be interesting to see how that goes all week. I believe it starts already on Wednesday, so it's a 4-day event. You can see on Dirt Vision next week.
All right. In the asphalt world, not a whole lot. Rockford Speedway had their final event. NASCAR late models are running there. Max Kaler and Austin Nason were really battling hard at the front. They tangoed into, not tangled, but they did the tango going into 3 and 4. Neither one of them ended up winning it. At the end, it was John Reynolds Jr. picking up the checkered flag and capping off his illustrious career at Rockford Speedway before it is no more. So congrats to him. And then Ryan Preece was running the modified race at Martinsville. He ended up picking up the win there. And Ronnie Silk was the champion. And Brian, you had pointed out the last time Silk won a championship was in 2011. So not too many people can pull that off and have that big of a gap between those championships. But Ronnie Silk is smooth as silk, I'm sure has been said plenty of times.
Nice. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Reminds me of Terry Labonte in the Cup Series. He was in the champion in 84. He didn't win it again until 96.
Indeed.
About as far apart. Say next week. Now, not only are we going to have the championship weekend here at Phoenix, but there's a couple other races that are pretty interesting. Like, for instance, at Nashville, it's the final race of the ASA Stars Series, which will determine a champion. Ty Majeski is in an interesting position. He's going to be racing Friday night here in Phoenix in the final race of that series, and then he's going to hop on a plane and fly to Nashville, and he's driving for Toby, isn't he?
Yeah, it's Toby's car. We're back to normal, and he's actually using Duke Thorson's plane to get from Phoenix to Nashville. So anyone who thought that maybe Ty was in trouble at Thor Motorsports, he's not.
Oh, that was just a rumor that some guy made up. Which is interesting. Also, next week, the Cars Series is going to have their championship at Caraway Speedway. Now, I wouldn't really ever mention this, but it's going to have some special interest around our parts because many-time Dell's Raceway Park champion Mike Litchfield is making the trip down there again. He was there earlier this year and showed up at a gunfight with a knife, as they like to say. His engine was really not up to snuff, and he's got a better engine, one that is much more likely to be able to compete with those guys. And his new old friend, Robbie Reiser, who lives not far from there, is going to be helping him out, which is, I think, pretty cool stuff. So Mike Litchfield, and that will be the Caraway race, the Cars championship race will be on Flow, I believe, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, the Stars race will be on a number of platforms, including Racing America. I think it's like Track something, and then Flow will have the Cars tour.
Side note, though, too, at that ASA Stars Tour race at Nashville, there's a lot of Midwestern flavor there. I mean, William Swalowich is going to run it. Luke Fenhouse, Johnny Sauter, Austin Nason, Gabe Summers going down there for that. We also going to have a lot. Ty Fredrickson, Danny Fredrickson's little guy, is going to be running. I shouldn't call him a little guy.
I think you shouldn't.
And then Jacob Gady from Minnesota. He's multi-champion. He's going to be down there running that ASA race, and then obviously Ty as well. So lots of Midwestern flavor going to be at that final race.
We're glad you're tuned in. We'll sneak away, and we will be back. Hang in there.
Win $1,000 in inflation compensation. Happening now.
Listen for the keyword weekdays 9 to 5. Then go to our website and simply enter. Check it out at thebig920.com.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company in the heart of Wisconsin is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com. Fall has arrived, but there's still time to get your landscaping complete before the snow flies. And PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need with fresh mulch arriving daily. From premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to EnviroMulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
The NASCAR Cup Series
puts the green flag in the air, and we're racing at Martinsville Speedway.
Playoff round of 8 drama unfolds at Martinsville Speedway.
Brian Blaney working hard to the outside. Brad Keselowski gets third.
Will we witness history once again?
Chastain did a video game move, drove it and never lifted, put it against the safer barrier in turn 3.
It's the Xfinity 500.
Sunday, coverage starts at noon on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back to LTN, the final segment. A couple things. Derek Kraus is going to race here at Phoenix next week. He got himself a second Spire truck. The first one, number 7, that he drove at Milwaukee. That one that I believe Kyle Larson drove that earlier in the season. Well, they're going to have it's going to be a 2-truck team, and he's going to be in the second number 77 Spire truck.
That's really good equipment too. So
Marco
you could do real well. He did real well at Milwaukee in that.
Pretty
Spire
much a
truck.
Hendrick truck is what it is. You know,
Yeah.
There's that.
Imagine that. Marco Andretti and Derek Kraus. What a team, huh?
Yeah, who will finish ahead of who there? My money's on Derek.
A couple of Slinger guys. How's that? They have both raced that Slinger. The Stars rule book came out this week, and it sounds as though the 4-barrel carb is going to be the standard for all races. Brian, you think that's a great idea? Most people in the state of Wisconsin do not, because it pretty much excludes many of the Wisconsin teams that race or wanted to race in that series. But it is what it is. You know, it's our rule book, and if you want to race with us, you got to do. It just wouldn't make sense to keep Wisconsin tracks, 4 Wisconsin tracks as part of that. So Milwaukee, I think, is going to be the only one left of the ASA Stars series, right?
That's the rumor. Their schedule hasn't come out yet. I would assume it'll probably come out during PRI in December, and then we'll know the full way of how they're going to operate going forward. But they had to have something concrete going before next year. I think they're going to probably have a driver's meeting when they're at Nashville next week to discuss the whole thing and get everything ironed out, and then they'll go forward from there.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn about the whole thing. You know, you try to put a race on at the Milwaukee Mile, and it's not about, nobody says, oh, they're going to be running 4 barrels, we should go to that race. No. It has to do with who's in the race. And as many guys with familiarity that are in the race is better for your gate. And if you don't have anybody that anybody knows locally that's going to be competing against the rest of these guys who are touring nationally, it can't possibly be a good gate. That's just the way it works in this business. You got to bring some drivers in then that people have heard about more nationally, and maybe is that a open week for the Cup Series that they'd be able to bring in a couple of maybe a Cup drivers to help the field.
I think their ultimate goal is to be more like what you see on the traveling dirt side. You know, Lucas Oil Series comes to town, they're bringing their drivers in. If you want to run with them, you're going to run with them, but you're going to have to, do the rules. World of Outlaws have done that for years. The team I was on for years, we did that. And I think that's what they want to do. They're not there yet because obviously they've only had 1 year. But if they're able to get going and they're able to have, a set of 12 to 15 guys that are going to follow the whole series, they're going to become names as you go along. Right now you got Bubba Pollard, Stephen Nassy, some of those guys that people know. They can build this up, and then they can take their traveling tour around. And if you want to run with them, you're going to, follow their rules. That's how we've done it on dirt for forever. I think that's what their ultimate goal is. It's going to take time to get there.
Yeah, it's going to take time.
Up here, I mean, we're still pretty healthy up here. When we figured it out with this 2-barrel package and made it work for years now. And we have a healthy car count. And we have a healthy super late model contingent up here in Wisconsin. And as long as they don't take our big races and make them, national races so the guys can't compete in them, that's fine.
Agreed. I totally agree with that, Dan. My only concern was the way that Bob Sargent had worded it. It was almost kind of like a, go sit in the stands, how he said that. There was a bit of bite to that comment. And the problem the problem with that, though, is that he also has his fingers obviously now in the Midwest Tour. So if you tick off those guys, they aren't going to want to have anything to do with you, period, because people take things personally. So he probably should have reeled in his emotion and snark just a little bit, because you don't want to crap where you're going to eat.
There you go. That's a long time old saying. All right, let's see. I just wanted to point out that they did a tire test here at Martinsville earlier this year, and they have a different tire they're going to be racing on today than they have in the past. It is a thicker tread. So does that mean that they'll last longer? Is there going to be the fall off we had before? You know, it's all part of the overall strategy in the race today. All right, let's go. We didn't do too good last week in our picks. I'm going to go with Denny Hamlin today. It's not because I love Denny Hamlin. He's a Virginia guy. He's always good at this track. He has to win to get in, and you got to have one of those guys you don't want to win, don't you? That's the Darrell Waltrip effect. So I'm taking the 11 today. Dan?
My guy last week was doing pretty good till he hit the pit road barrels. I think I'm going to go I'll go with Martin Truex. We can't have another situation like Childress yesterday, can we? One of those Gibbs cars has to get in. If you're going to take Hamlin, I'll take Truex.
All right. Brian?
I'm going to say we're not going to have a playoff guy win this race today. I think Ty Gibbs is going to get his first ever career win today, and he's going to piss off his teammates because neither one of them will make it in.
That's beautiful, and then he's done that to his teammates before.
And he'll laugh all the way home.
Yeah. PJ, who are you looking at?
It's going to be a Ford, and I'm going to end up going. I'm going to go with Brad Keselowski.
You know, you'd think he's going to win one yet this year, and it's not likely to be next week. Yeah, he's been okay at this track in the past. Remember, he's one of the drivers that pissed Matt Kenseth off, and so he took his teammate out.
I'd have picked Briscoe if I was going with the Ford.
Hey, yeah, good stuff all the way around. Hey, hope to see any of you cheeseheads that might be going to Phoenix for the championship race. Thursday night, the name of the place is Roman's Oasis. We'll put it on the Facebook page, and you'll be able to pick it up from there. For all of us, thanks for tuning in, and we want you to remember that real race cars have doors, even if they do climb in through the windows. Let's Talk NASCAR is produced and directed by Dangerous Dan Margetta. Our engineer on the program is Matt Losi. For all of us involved with the program, it's a genuine honor to have you tune in every week, and we'll see you next week, everybody.
This program has come to you live from multiple locations via Skype. Any and all comments expressed on this show do not necessarily express the opinions of this station, its employees, or advertisers. Your comments are always welcome at mail@ltnradionetwork.com. Find us at facebook.com/LTN Radio Network. And thank you for your support since 1985. Tune in again next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for the LTN Hour on the LTN Radio Network.
Soft, quality cashmere. That's the ethos behind the Natum brand. In 2013, Natum changed the cashmere industry by creating heirloom quality sweaters that were more colorful, more accessible, and more sustainable than ever before. Their incredibly soft knitwear is responsibly sourced, surprisingly affordable, and crafted in modern yet timeless styles for every season. From classic sweaters to chic dresses, Natum has something for him, her, and more. Take 15% off at natum.co with code SOFT15. That's SOFT15 at NAADAM.co.